Good afternoon from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I'm Ross Johnston. The Tennessee Titans head to California this Sunday to take on the 9-4 San Francisco 49ers with kickoff set for 3:25 Central. You can listen to the Lee Company Countdown to Kickoff starting at noon Central right here on The Zone, followed by Titans radio pregame coverage at 2:30. In NFL news, Steelers outside linebacker TJ Watt underwent successful surgery on a collapsed lung, which happened in a dry needling treatment session on Wednesday at the Steelers facility. Watt's recovery timeline is still TBD, but he is expected to return this season per his brother JJ. The Steelers face Miami on Monday night. Two key wide receivers have been announced out for Sunday, the Bengals' T. Higgins and the Cardinals' Marvin Harrison Jr., per Adam Schefter. Lastly, we have an update on Sharon Moore as he was charged by the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office with a felony third-degree home invasion and 2 misdemeanors stalking in a domestic relationship, along with breaking and entering. For all your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door and broadcasting live from the 104.5 The Zone Circus Sports Studio. Kentucky's largest sports book can now be found at Circus Sports at Kentucky Downs. Going to talk a little college football before we are joined by Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports to talk all about the NFL. And then, of course, we'll head into the 49ers discussion, talk a little bit about Robert Saleh's candidacy, kind of revisit some things that happened with him and the New York Jets and talk about what he's doing San Francisco 49ers and find a path to victory against a San Francisco team that's favored by 12.5 points at home.
Uh-oh, you the expert, man. They covering?
They're covering.
Oh, my.
I don't know if they're winning.
Right.
But I think they're covering.
Okay.
We'll see how the show goes through our conversation, see if maybe something we say sparks something different. But I think I'm just going with a cover this weekend. I'm hoping for a win. It's crazy. It's December, right? December in the NFL gets a little crazy. We saw the Falcons have 15 more penalties than the Buccaneers and still somehow won the game on a last-minute field goal last night. I mean,
is that a touchdown by Pitts?
I think so. I mean, I don't know in the NFL anymore. They've made it so complicated what is and isn't a touchdown.
Oh. Did you see the play? I think it was the second.
Yeah, it's close call.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
But I'm an offensive player, so I like it.
he's being a little biased because of his offensive background.
Hey, we don't even have the biggest spread of the NFL weekend.
Who does?
Colts are 13.5 dogs at Seattle on Sunday.
Yeah, that makes sense, though. But that doesn't really help our case as Tennessee Titans that, a team with a 44-year-old quarterback heading to Seattle, one of the best defenses in the league, all around in almost every statistical category, and they're only 1 point worse underdogs than you. I don't think that really says what we need to say.
Starting? Have they said?
Yeah.
Frame it however you want to. They're 8-5 and they're 13-point underdogs.
Yeah. But
lost their starting quarterback.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens up there.
Yeah, he has the lights dim in there. All you can see is his stash. What? Are you kidding me?
Making a mess back here.
Oh, man.
All right, so just some housekeeping notes in college football world. Of course, the Tennessee Volunteers hired Penn State defensive coordinator Jim Knowles to be their defensive coordinator. It's a 3-year deal that runs through the end of January 2029. His salary will be $2 million in 2026, then $2.2 in 2027, $2.4 million in 2028. I guess.
Is he compensated the rest of the salary he was making with Penn State with that? Because he was making $3 million or so. Thereabouts.
Okay, so right here it says Knowles will start out at Tennessee making over $1 million less than his reported 2025 salary with the Nittany Lions, and Tennessee next year will pay him less than Tim Banks.
Right.
That doesn't really answer your question. So in this article, it does not say what you're asking.
They do. Oh,
yeah. I thought that was going to answer your question, but it did not.
Well, typically that's how it works, right?
Right. Okay. There should be a little bit of offset there, depending on, because I guess if he is making $1 million less,
Penn State's on the hook for $1 million.
Then something must be going on over there at Penn State.
Are coaches allowed to get incentive-based contracts at all? Like, players could in the National Football League or no?
I don't know. I would assume that maybe
I
there's...
know Kiffin did with every round they won in the playoffs,
right.
So they won the national championship.
So I wonder if there's something in there like they've got a top, 30 defense or something.
Yeah.
He gets blank amount of money. I don't know.
So what do we expect year one from Jim Knowles? Like, do we expect drastic changes? I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about situational football will be a big drastic change, but we kind of talked about this yesterday with Kalen DeBoer. Ross had brought it up about getting your recruits in there, and at a certain time, your recruits are in there, and that's when you may see a big uptick in production. Like, these aren't his recruits right now, but obviously he's a veteran defensive coordinator, and you expect him to do stuff with the recruits that you got. But how much can we expect improvement, especially with them losing 2 or 3 people to the draft?
Yeah, I don't know much about him. I mean, you guys probably would know. I didn't really pay that much. Besides, he was at, Ohio State and won that championship. He coached against them in the playoff game. I don't know. What do you think? How much do you think this was a good move on their part? Because the guy's been a DC for, I don't know how many years, like 20-something years, even more.
He's got a proven track record.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't dislike the hire, right? I mean, like, if you're going to fire Tim Banks, you could have done a lot worse than Jim Knowles.
Right.
And I do think that with his track record, he's likely better than Tim Banks. But I heard Ramon talk about it this morning, and he said, you're in the SEC. You can't be good one game, be bad the next. You can't be good one drive, bad the next drive, good the next drive, bad, bad, bad. And that's how he was describing Tim Banks. And I just... something about this recruiting world that we live in and the injuries that Tennessee suffered, I wonder, I know we have a lot of data on Tim Banks, but I do wonder if the 2024 version of Tim Banks is what I guess that's not the outlier. Now that's kind of feeling like the Tennessee people are kind of spinning that as the outlier of Tim Banks. And I don't know if that was the outlier, because I think that if this defense hadn't suffered the injuries it did, it may have been the same as the 2024 defense, or at least close.
Yeah, I would lean more towards that for me personally. I think it was all about the Vanderbilt game. That's what I said before.
Yeah.
When they, fired him, I thought it was all about the Vandy game, and they just, just can't take that they got whooped. They got handled. And they got outcoached on both sides of the ball, by the way. But it was the way they got beat because Diego ran down their throats, and they ran down their throats. Vanderbilt did. And I just think they couldn't stomach it, and they have to have a fall guy. Mm-hmm. And this is where it's at. I mean, he had nowhere near the talent with the injuries on not just at the corners and, at the D-line. I mean, they had a lot of injuries, and they just didn't look as good as they did the year before on both sides of the ball.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of how I take it. It's just that's the way it is with coaching. So you're looking for answers. And he was the guy, and they moved on. I mean, and he only had, so many years of experience as a DC. So when you do make this move, I do like that they got someone who's coveted over a period of time. You see his history. The only concern I have with this hire, he is vetted, he is good, is when he got hired with Penn State, he said that he was going to adjust his system so when he installs it, it won't be so hard. And then you see quotes from James Franklin at Penn State acting as though he's not happy with the performance of the team, and it is still really difficult mentally. So this first year, to me, is going to be, I don't know if they're going to be able to adjust, because he said he was, Tim knows, and then he didn't. And then he kept putting and installing his way, which was maybe a little too much early on for guys. So that'll be the interesting part. This first year, to me, it will be really interesting if they pick up the scheme and move forward and look a lot better. Everywhere he's gone, they've gotten better.
Yeah.
Naturally, we look at that's an outlier. National champions, they had an elite level, and he had been there 3 years. But that first year, the adjustment to his scheme and system is always a little tale of how quickly they're grasping the system and is he kind of working with, the players all at the same time. And that's really the only issue. After that, he typically is every time they take off.
Right.
And sometimes in the first year, obviously you're taking over bad defense. If it's lower ranked, then, it's going to go up. So I'm just interested to see in the SEC because it's kind of a different animal. So you just want to see if his scheme and system works. So, I watched the UCLA game against Penn State. Naturally, they lost with Nico looking like he had never looked with Tennessee. I mean, for real. And I'm talking about when he was even running the football.
Yeah.
I mean, he was running with some passion that I hadn't seen him run with. And Penn State was trying to get him. And they almost came back because they got so far behind. But that scheme and system is kind of a 4-2-5, which is, with all this passing going on. And he runs a lot of slants and stunts up front, which can cause gaps. But you can tell he does his homework because it never really causes huge gaps. And sometimes the middle guy, safety, is the field guy in the alley. Which is really weird, which he did against Tennessee, too. I watched that game over again from beginning to end. I thought Tennessee made some mistakes making Squirrel White block the freaking linebacker.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, man, that ain't the 6'2", 6'3" guy, 240?
Right.
Nah, that's where they kind of went wrong there. But guy in the middle safety was coming down in the alley, man. Like he was 15 yards deep, and he's the guy tackling for 2-yard gain.
Yeah.
I'm like, that should not be happening. But he had stunts and where it could delay and cause time, almost like he knew their play. So I wonder if this move was all based off of what they did against them in, Ohio State in that playoff game, I guess the last playoffs. Yeah. Because it looked impressive.
Yeah.
They were dominant.
Did you have something, Ross?
And they didn't have the answers, by the way. The coach didn't. Heupel didn't. And the OC didn't. They didn't have the answers.
I think. Listen. I get that the offensive coordinator or the offense has been pretty good and fun to watch and all that kind of stuff, but there's been a lot of situational stuff and a lot of not adjusting by the offense just as much as there was on the defense.
Exactly.
And when those things happen on offense, it does affect the defense.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to throw that out there.
I wonder, and I don't know Tennessee's depth pieces that much. I wonder how hard they hit the portal. I would expect them to hit the portal fairly hard because, like you said, Blaine, with the 4-2-5, that honestly to me is perfect for the SEC because the SEC is all built on spread offense and throwing the football around and speed. So I wonder if they hit the portal pretty hard and look for some guys that kind of fit the mold of his defense because every coach has their certain mold for their defense. So, and of course, the transfer portal is what it is now, but I think there could be a lot of player turnover on that side of the football potentially at Tennessee.
It feels like it likely would have to be, right? I mean, I guess have to be is a strong word, but there probably needs to be because I don't know how much of these defensive players can translate and do what he's going to be asking. Well, I mean, I don't know. He's going to know when he gets in there, but I don't know,
Another
generally.
question is, does he get to bring his own staff or does he keep some of the staff members? I think it's his option.
Yeah. That's another thing. And if it's typically your
Banks
option.
didn't get that option.
Yeah.
Right, by the way.
Yeah.
So that's interesting in itself right there.
Right.
And we all know it's improving guys, but if you don't know his system, he may say, even though you're a good recruiter or even I need guys who can actually teach my system.
Yeah. It is interesting because I heard the same thing this morning is that he can kind of, construct his staff the way he wants, which is probably a good thing for Heupel in the sense of I got a head coach for the defense that, he could do whatever he wants. I don't need to meddle with it. But all those guys that were there, they may be looking for jobs elsewhere. I mean, most coaches when they come in at least want majority of the staff that they're inheriting to at least be their guys.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that, it happens that way, but that's typically how the NFL, college football, every sport probably works that way.
Yeah, because they have the same message. They know the system. So now he's going to have to not only teach the system to the players, he's got to teach the system to the coaches.
Right. This is how we run practice. This is how I do things.
Well, not just that, but the scheme.
Right.
When I'm saying system, I'm talking about scheme and what they teach and how to. Sometimes you watch them, they don't even try to get after passer. They're like gap controlling and then two gapping.
Yeah.
So they would just bang the guy and then would play two gaps. You could see it. It's taught.
Yeah.
And most SEC defensive guys is like hitting gaps and attack.
Yeah.
Right. See, so that this is going to be an interesting transition.
Yeah.
I think it's a good hire, but how quickly will it be in effect?
Yeah.
Man, if they can get that thing right, rolling this first year, it could be really good. But if not, it got to have some patience.
Yep.
I think I would imagine he'll try to get a couple guys from Penn State over if he can. I saw yesterday one of their DBs, Elliott Washington II, announced he's entering the transfer portal. I would imagine that Tennessee will go pretty hard after him because, like you said, Blaine, we obviously think about coaches and teaching the system. Well, it'd be nice to have a couple guys that have played in the system for a year that can also teach that.
No doubt.
All right, coming up next, we'll go around the NFL with Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Let's face it, buying a vehicle should be straightforward and stress-free, and that's exactly how Two Rivers Ford has been doing business for decades. This locally owned dealership has a non-commissioned sales team whose only focus is to find you the right vehicle at the right price without the pressure. So you'll actually have a fun car buying experience. Great prices, easy financing, and a non-commissioned sales team. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
I'll be home for Christmas. You can count on me. I'll be home for Christmas. If only in my dreams.
Smashville hockey. Around here, it can sound like a language of its own. But hey, if you can pronounce Demumbrian, then names like Yossi, Shea, and Marchessault will roll right off the tongue. Nashville Predators, only in Smashville.
One of the largest sports books east of the Mississippi, Circa Sports Kentucky, is now open. Catch all your favorite games on an 80-foot screen with stadium-style seating and live VSiN broadcast daily. Circa Sports, now open at the Mint Gaming Hall, Kentucky Downs.
My dad and I used to golf together all the time, but when he hurt his back, it was over.
To have your son want to spend time with you is amazing. That's why my chronic back pain has been so heartbreaking. Surgery, fused bones, long recovery. No way, not for me. A friend recommended stem cells, so I gave Kellum Stem Cell Institute a call.
I'm glad you're out on the course.
Yeah, it's really good.
Call the Kellum Stem Cell Institute today. Swing still looks just okay, though.
Selling your home can be stressful, but it doesn't have to be. Get a guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate. There are no showings, no open houses, no stress. Work with the #1 real estate team in the U.S. and close with confidence. Go to markspain.com today.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. 615-737-1045 is the number. We're going to go around the NFL with Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports. And Jordan, I know you're not 44, but are you ready to go play quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts?
Yes, I'm ready. What's going on, guys?
What's
Thanks for having me back on the show. If Phillip Rivers can do it, I'm starting to feel like I should start getting loose. We need Blaine to start getting loose and go play safety. For
He's been stretching in between breaks.
Yeah.
Like he's getting ready to go out there and play.
I'm trying to figure out what position I could play where I wouldn't be exposed to anything. Like I wouldn't, maybe free safety or something, or where they make sure that they're going to run the ball. And if it's an open tackle, I'll just get out running. And, say that thing. Oh, he had a bad angle.
I mean, I will say, man, like when Daniel Jones went down, Phillip Rivers was actually a thought that popped into my brain. But then I went and saw that he was about to turn 44 years old on Tuesday, and I said, okay, well, that's not going to happen. And then it did, of course. But I will say, like, if you're one of those people out there asking why Phillip Rivers was asked to come back and not Tom Brady or Ryan Tannehill or Cam Newton, I will say it's because Phillip Rivers last played for this franchise. He has a relationship with head coach Shane Steichen. Phillip Rivers still talks to Steichen about his current offense because he runs something similar as a coach at his high school down in Alabama. There was very much a pre-existing relationship there. But don't get me wrong, it's still very surprising. It's absolutely shocking, but these two parties have been in contact. I'm not exactly sure what to expect from Phillip Rivers in his return to the field. I saw some of those clips from practice, and I'm not one to body shame, but he certainly has a little bit of a beer belly going. I wonder if he can take on the pressure of the Seahawks defense. But it definitely has turned into one of the games of the week, even though Seattle is favored by 14 points.
He didn't look good throwing.
I mean, throwing the ball, I guess he was okay throwing the ball against air. It was just kind of
Right, it was.
interesting to see him on the field, I guess, is how I'm
He put on some LBs, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But, boy, his throwing motion looked exact. I mean, I was like, whoa. Man,
it's
that
kind of
looks
like a
good.
shot put, right? It's
Well,
not
it was
the most,
always like a
fluid
shot
way.
put. It would never look good. But hey, man, he may get that that grown man strength at 44 where he can just shot put that thing all over the place. But I can't wait to see when he's got to try to get out of there, man. He made what was that big guy from the Kentucky, that quarterback?
Jared Lorenzen.
Yeah. He's not that, but I would say when you hit him, you better hit him to take him down because he's gonna be so.
He's looking like prime Roethlisberger.
Oh,
because Roethlisberger was always a big old chunky boy.
That's a better one.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Okay, so what happens to the Colts this year if they lose out the rest of the way? Because Daniel Jones has now injured his entire lower body, it feels like, and his game is predicated around that. He's going to have to – he was on a one-year contract, and he's going to have, recovery time, rehab time. Anthony Richardson, popped his eye, his orbital, broke his orbital socket and all that kind of stuff. Like, they traded a bunch of first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. Like, what does the future hold for the Indianapolis Colts if they were to lose out the rest of the way?
I mean, I think they're going back to Anthony Richardson. The way I would put it is that it puts the Colts obviously in the quarterback market for this upcoming season because Daniel Jones is going to, take some time to recover. He's not going to be able to play in week 1 for 2026. But the Colts do have this former number 4 overall pick at quarterback who had basically a full year to kind of sit and learn behind Daniel Jones and I guess a few weeks with Phillip Rivers as well. You would have to imagine that he's probably the quarterback that maybe starts in week 1 in 2026. And I think that is interesting to bring up because we were talking about Anthony Richardson as one of these intriguing trade targets entering this offseason, this preseason. And now that narrative might have died because again, the Colts are going to need a new starting quarterback for 2026. But it's just a very unfortunate series of events, right? Because the Colts went all in at the trade deadline, giving up 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, which is just crazy, to go in for a Super Bowl run with their new quarterback who they thought could be a legitimate MVP candidate this year in 2025. Then you start losing some games. The offense doesn't look as efficient. The defense suffers some injuries. And then your quarterback goes down with a season-ending injury. So, yeah, the trajectory of the Colts right now, it seems like for the future it's very much in flux. But my first thought goes to the quarterback position and what exactly they're going to do for 2026.
All right. Do you think that Raheem Morris, with the win last night, kind of maybe took some heat off his back?
Honestly, no. I mean, if I was giving you my hot seat rankings, there would be Jonathan Gannon there, Raheem Morris would be in there, Kevin Stefanski would be in there, Mike McDaniel, Pete Carroll, Zach Taylor. I don't think that Raheem Morris did enough to, let's just say, save his job. I still think he is very much on the hot seat. We saw that report from NFL Media last night saying that Atlanta ownership is really going to sit back and consider all their options at the end of the year because this thing's been disastrous. And I think that a lot of people could make the case, let's fire the general manager, Terry Fontenot, compared to the head coach and Raheem Morris, who they were clearly high on when they handed him the keys to the car. But I think that, you can make the argument that the Falcons underperformed from a coaching standpoint as well, despite the injuries at quarterback. One thing I really look for when it comes to teams being well coached or teams that are not well coached is penalties. And even last night, despite the win, the Falcons committed a franchise record 19 penalties for 125 yards. And you got to give credit for Kirk Cousins and Kyle Pitts for having incredible performances and coming back. But I still think there's a lot of question marks when it comes to this Falcons team. So I'm interested to see what this coaching carousel at large looks like. Could it being attractive or unattractive lead the Falcons to lean one way or another? Because as we know, when we talk about firing a general manager or head coach, you want to be on the same timeline. And if you're firing the general manager, it's very fair to say the head coach is on the hot seat as well.
We're going around the NFL with Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports.
Well, Jordan, naturally, my cohort over there, Zach, said that it was probably a loophole here for old Mr. Rivers in his Hall of Fame ballot. Is there a way that they don't change where he's at on the ballot for Hall of Fame or make it go back another year or restart the clock? What did you think about this whole deal about his Hall of Fame, nomination here, which was he was on?
Yeah, I think if you gave Phillip Rivers truth serum, he probably understood that he wasn't going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. So he's probably okay pushing that off for another chance at glory to help the franchise that he last led to the playoffs get back to the postseason. But to answer your question, there is a possibility. I mean, I think that the clock for Canton would reset if he were to be activated to the active roster. And I don't know if that has happened just yet. A lot of us are assuming that he's actually going to start on Sunday versus Seattle. I don't think we've seen that officially just yet. But as soon as that news breaks and he's promoted to the active roster, I think that's when that Hall of Fame clock resets.
So is that even in the case of, because for practice squad players, you can promote them to the game day roster 3 times before you have to sign them to the active roster. If it's just a game day elevation, does that still count? Do you know? Because that's the question I really have.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets a game day elevation and he plays, even if it's as a backup or relief duty, I'm pretty sure that clock is resetting.
Gotcha. There you go. No loophole then.
Oh, okay.
I thought there may have been a loophole.
We were testing it. Testing it out. See it. Now, naturally, we're going to talk about, we're talking about quarterbacks in here and Hurts. And I just wonder, Philadelphia media is so hard on Hurts. Is that who do you think is the bigger issue and who will be out of there the soonest? A combined question there. Hurts, A.J. Brown, or the offensive coordinator? Or maybe even the head coach?
I think it's easily the offensive coordinator, Kevin Patullo, to be honest with you. I mean, Jalen Hurts is a reigning Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion. We know that A.J. Brown's a wide receiver 1. Nick Sirianni, if you looked at his blind resume, you would consider him to be one of the best coaches of all time. I'm not saying he is. I'm just saying if you looked at his blind resume. So I would definitely lean towards Kevin Patullo being the first one on the way out. I think that I compared this Eagles offense to like a grandma driving a Ferrari earlier this year is how I look at it, because they have a great offensive line, a talented enough quarterback, a great cast of weapons, and a really good defense. This team should be a perennial contender, and they just have not looked smooth through the course of this season. Now, Jalen Hurts definitely deserves some blame. I'm not like an Eagles fan where I say he should be benched and we should have a change under center. I'm not saying that at all. But when it comes to Jalen Hurts purely throwing the football, I think that there are a number of different quarterbacks around the NFL better than him at that. I don't think he's consistent throwing the football. I think he gets lost through his progressions. I don't think he's cool under pressure all the time. And the other thing is, I don't know if this is a Jalen Hurts thing or a Kevin Patullo thing, but it seems like he's rushing the ball less this year. Like when it comes to his rushing yards per game, he's not as versatile of a weapon as he used to be, because I thought Jalen Hurts was one of the more underrated quarterbacks of all time when it came to running the football last year, and it seems like the element of that game has kind of disappeared in 2025. So the Eagles as a whole, you look at their remaining schedule, it's easily a top 2 easy schedule to close out the season. They could do something similar like last year where they really regroup and they're able to come together and prepare for a legitimate Super Bowl run. We know that this team is talented. Jalen Hurts is certainly talented enough to win a Super Bowl. We've already seen that. So I would lean towards Kevin Patullo as being the guy who's been really the target of the angst of the Philadelphia faithful.
2 more quarterback questions, that is. What were your thoughts when you watched Cam Ward versus Shedeur Sanders? Well, come on, man. I mean, I know they didn't face one another. They were playing defenses. But, what did you think when you saw them both on the same field?
I mean, well, that whole game in itself shocked me. I did not anticipate the Titans to win. I did not anticipate the Titans to drop 31 points. I did not anticipate Tony Pollard to rush for 161 yards. I didn't anticipate Shedeur Sanders throwing for 364 yards, 3 touchdowns, and an interception. That just flabbergasted me. So the Shedeur Sanders really impressed me. I'm not ready to say he should have been QB1 in this class by any means, but I think that he's done a really great job in terms of grabbing the reins of this franchise and this job as a whole. When it comes to Cam Ward, there was definitely a lot to be desired. I think that a lot of his passing yards came off of Yak. He had a really bad interception. So I think it's fair to ask for more from Cam Ward. But the Titans did get the win thanks to the ground game, and I think the coaching staff deserves some credit as well for the way they game planned against Myles Garrett and this fantastic Browns defense at large. So Cam Ward, I mean, there's no getting around it. It hasn't been a fantastic rookie season from him. He's been unable to be the C.J. Stroud or Jaden Daniels generational prospect that some of the Titans fans wanted him to be. But it's a work in progress. This is a first-year quarterback. This is the hardest job in the NFL. So I like his demeanor and his work ethic and what it seems like he's focused on in terms of being important. He wasn't happy about his performance. I wasn't happy about his performance, but it was nice that the Titans as a team were able to regroup and grab the victory.
And lastly, thoughts on the Joe Burrow, I'm not having fun, or, and all those things he said with it.
Man,
What
Joe
was the
Burrow
message
had-
for? I mean, where did you take it when you heard it?
Yes. This could be something we talk about 30 minutes on, because Joe Burrow had the worst 29th birthday party of all time, right? A weird introspective press conference that made everyone who listened depressed. And the question is, like, what is Burrow upset about? Who is he delivering this message to? Again, it's a lot of things, but it's hard to ignore this. Joe Burrow has suffered major injuries in half of his 6 NFL seasons. And how do you get hurt? You get sacked. No quarterback has been sacked more than Joe Burrow since he was selected #1 overall in 2020. He's actually been hit 6.5 times per game in his career, which is the 5th highest rate in the NFL over the last 20 years. And you know who ranks #1 in that category of most hit quarterbacks? Some guy by the name of Andrew Luck. And everyone's first thought was, oh, this is the next Andrew Luck. Believe it or not, that was not my first response. Instead of Andrew Luck, my brain went to LeBron James. I thought of LeBron leaving Cleveland to reach his potential because he wasn't going to get that with the Cavaliers. Think about everything that's gone on with Joe Burrow's story. The defense has been horrific. They're not winning games anymore. He's not being protected. His friends and his playmakers aren't getting paid when they should be, and that leaves him in the unenviable spot where he has to publicly criticize the organization for not getting their business done when they should. I think Joe Burrow has a lot of different reasons to be upset about a lot of different things when it comes to the Bengals organization. And if you guys remember, this was something I broached with you guys before the start of the year, Joe Burrow's relationship with the Cincinnati Bengals. So I think that whole depressing press conference was a message to the franchise. Joe Burrow, I don't think, is thinking about hanging up the cleats. I'm thinking he's starting to believe that a change of scenery might be good for him in the trajectory of his career.
Okay, so if that's the case, Jordan, and I need, listen, it's very early and this is all hypotheticals, but where do you think is the landing spot that he would want to go to? Because he has a full no trade clause. So, like, he can turn down any of the trade destinations that he's traded to. Where do you think he's kind of eyeing from afar as maybe the potential Matt Stafford, Jared Goff kind of trade?
Eagles.
Yeah. So there are a lot of landing spots. We're talking about a top 3, top 2 quarterback in the NFL. There's a lot of teams that would be interested in his services, but there is one that for whatever reason immediately stood out to me. It's out of conference. The Minnesota Vikings team up with Justin Jefferson and Kevin O'Connell. The Minnesota Vikings they put some work into that offensive line this offseason. They obviously have Brian Flores as a really good defensive coordinator, aggressive unit on that side. Joe Burrow, the Minnesota Viking, is something that stood out to me.
That makes sense. That was hot off our radar too. Let me ask you this: what is going on with T. Higgins? He's been in concussion protocol, in and out of it. And it really calls into question, as you wrote, the process of the concussion protocol, because T. Higgins is back in protocol after returning twice versus the Bills when it's clear that he probably suffered a concussion.
Yeah, it's a good question. And I don't think it's fair to criticize the NFL, because I honestly think that the concussion protocol, the concussion process, the evaluation is pretty imperfect. It's not like we understand everything about head injuries and concussions. There are instances almost every single week where if you're watching a game and you see a player take a really tough hit to the head, he exits the game, does the protocol, is cleared to return, and then in 24 hours, he's being placed in the concussion protocol. For whatever reasons, I've been told it's a very imperfect science. Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. But with T. Higgins, the problem was he just got out of concussion protocol to play the Buffalo Bills. He takes a nasty hit to the head. He's clearly, injured, if you will. He's holding his head. He's uncomfortable. He goes out of the game to be checked for a concussion, and he's able to return, which was, curious. And then it happens again. It happens a second time where he takes a nasty hit to the head. He obviously is injured, exits the game, and he's cleared to return again. So that was the entire backlash when it comes to the T. Higgins situation, is that this guy clearly has a head injury, and he's being allowed to return to the game. So that doesn't come down to Zach Taylor. I don't know if it even comes down to the Bengals. That comes down to the league and the team doctors as well. But again, it just seems like an imperfect science to me. But in that specific instance, it seemed like everyone in the world watching that game knew that T. Higgins had a head injury. So obviously the NFL opens itself up to criticism in that specific case.
Do you think the Bengals kind of regret not trading Trey Hendrickson? You can't predict injuries, but do you think they regret it as they placed him on the IR after a core muscle surgery and will miss the rest of the season?
So that's a loaded question because they kind of won the battle with Trey Hendrickson, right? Trey Hendrickson wanted a multi-year extension with all this guaranteed money, and he didn't get that. He got a bump in pay. So I think the Bengals were happy with the resolution, but of course they're not happy with the availability of Trey Hendrickson and the stats that he's put up this season. They're not happy with that, of course, but they were the ones who won the Trey Hendrickson war. But to your point, if you knew that Trey Hendrickson was not going to be on your team moving forward, which I think they probably had understood that, then it's probably smart to trade him and get some draft capital. But of course, they believed him to be one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL. They wanted a pretty penny for Trey Hendrickson, and I don't know for sure if they were offered an offer that would have made them more open to parting ways with him. So I think it was something that probably should have been done, but you have to understand this Bengals organization, it seemed like they were all in this year. They got Jamar Chase under contract, Joe Burrow's under contract, T. Higgins is under contract. We got Trey Hendrickson for at least one more year and a change in leadership on the defensive side of the ball. The Bengals absolutely had Super Bowl aspirations, and Trey Hendrickson was a big part of that.
All right. Who's your prediction as of now? We'll ask you almost every week. Who's going to be Titans head coach?
Well, I guess I'm just going to have a different answer every single week. Let's just do that.
It changes. We get new information every week.
Well, give me Marcus Freeman. Let's bring Marcus Freeman. Let's go really out of the box here, okay?
I like it. All right. That was Jordan DeJaney of CBS Sports. We went around the NFL with him. Enjoy the NFL weekend, Jordan.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate y'all.
No problem. Coming up next, there was an interesting proposal that was a little overlooked in an article that came out yesterday at Sports Illustrated about a bridge head coach option for the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to ask Blaine about it and see what he thinks. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Legendary coach Lou Holtz once said, before people spend money, they ask 3 questions. Can I trust you? Are you committed to excellence? And do you care about me? Hey, friends, it's Blaine Bishop for Eurofix. And Eurofix has built its business on answering those 3 questions with a bold yes. So back in 1999, owner Aaron Stokes was by himself with a 1-car garage in downtown Franklin. A few months later, Aaron moved to a shop and in a barn behind his house so he could stay close to his family while building his dream of offering the best service on European vehicles at below dealer pricing. So you fast forward to today. That barn is long gone, and Eurofix is thriving with 5 locations here in Tennessee: Nashville, Franklin, Belmead, Murfreesboro, Mount Juliet, and more to come. And all work performed comes with a 3-year, 36,000-mile nationwide warranty, plus a free rental car available with every appointment. So go ahead, ask yourself, can you trust us? Do we care? And are you committed to excellence? And I think you'll say yes when you see how we treat you. So call today at 615, of course, 728-1888, right? No, 724-1888. Or you can check them out online at myEurofix.com. That's myEurofix.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Stores. 615-737-1045 is the number. Connor Orr covers the NFL for Sports Illustrated. He's done it for NFL.com as well. He put out an article of 42 head coaching candidates, 42 coaches he thinks will get an interview for job openings in the NFL this cycle.
Wow.
And
42.
Yeah, 42. It's a lot smaller. I don't know if you saw Tom Pelissero's list. It had like 160 or 190. Like you just at some point you're just naming every coach and you have no real value. But like he picked out 42, and how he put it was like, Mel Kiper has a big board, and he just wants to get his top 50 players to be drafted in the top 50. As many as those players get drafted in top 50, make it look good.
Well, he has a bonus in his contract?
Yeah, maybe. And so he's saying, I just want as many of the 42 names I've listed to get interviews. Not get jobs, obviously, because there's only 32 jobs, and they're not all open, but just to get interviews is kind of how he put it. But he had one, because everybody talked about this one, Blaine, which is obviously duh. But when Mike McCarthy got listed, he got to the Mike McCarthy section. He goes, McCarthy, 62, is viewed by some as an early front runner for the Titans. Given his experience at the quarterback position, the Titans needing to maximize 2025 number 1 pick Cam Ward, though there are some conflicting opinions emerging that Tennessee may value a younger voice in the building. He says that numerous times, that last part, but that's the one that caught fire. That's the quote that everybody shared. Here's the one I found interesting. Jim Schwartz, defensive coordinator, Cleveland Browns. Schwartz's run in Cleveland, in conjunction with the fact that nearly all the top defenses in the NFL this year are in some way connected to his root scheme, make the former Lions head coach a curiosity at the very least this cycle, especially with the Titans job opening. While everything I've heard about the Tennessee job points to the team looking for youth, the 59-year-old Schwartz was a longtime Titans assistant and has relationships in the building. If the team was hoping to import a young play caller as a future head coach, Schwartz could be an ideal bridge candidate with experience who could instantly stabilize the defense. So essentially what he's laying out here is a scenario where, like, you have a bridge quarterback. Well, and while your young quarterback is getting ready, you're trying to find a young quarterback, you do a bridge head coach. I guess that was kind of like what you would maybe consider Mike Mularkey, even though I don't think that was the intent with Mike Mularkey. But what do you think about that? Because I don't know if I would take a job knowing that I'm only setting up the job for someone else to take. Like, that seems really weird thing to throw out there.
Naturally, I don't think when you're saying that, you're giving the out if it doesn't work out and he got you to middling.
Yeah.
That's cool. But if he takes you further, he could potentially be the long-term answer as well. So that's kind of how I view it when he said that.
Gotcha.
Now, the question I think is, why do you believe that he could be a bridge head coach when what has he ever been? A bridge head coach.
Right.
What does his resume tell you? He was only a head coach one time with Detroit.
Yep.
And how well did he do?
Not very good. And I'll pull it up right now.
So what makes him a bridge guy? Bridge guy is someone has stability. They've done it before. They've had success. And maybe now they're towards the end of their career, a la Mike McCarthy.
Yeah.
That, to me, is a bridge guy. And if it works out that he still connects with the young players, because there is a part of this where you wonder if some coaches, maybe they get a little outdated and maybe, some of the players don't connect. So, and Schwartz, he was on the staff when I was there. It was the DC my last year or so. So I'm an advocate for Schwartz, by the way. I mean, and he has connections with the ownership group. But that's what I'm going to ask you is, does he deserve a second shot at this point in time, after many years have passed since that time? And how well did he do as a head coach? That's not to say that your second go-round, you won't be better, but typically it comes sooner than later.
Yeah.
It's been a period of time. How long has it been?
He has not coached as a head coach since 2013. He had one winning season with the Detroit Lions. It was 10-6. He was 29-51 overall over at Detroit. That's a .363 win percentage, so 36.3% of his games he won.
And by the way, he got out coached versus the Titans with a number 2 defense and a Hall of Fame player on the edge.
Yeah.
And so, it is one game, but at the same time, and then how we ran the football like we had never run on anybody before.
Yeah.
So I just I would pump the brakes as much as I want to be an advocate for Schwartzy. Remember I asked Coach Mack that. Schwartzy got out coached.
Yeah.
It was evident. It wasn't just about execution. They got out coached. And he should have told Mr. Myles Garrett to stop running up the field. They do run the ball, and they're running right at you. So, hey, that's I love Schwartzy, and if he gets a job, I'll jump up for joy, but I don't know if that's the bridge guy I'm looking for. I want someone who's had success in the league.
Yeah.
He has not had success but one season. So, that granted, he has a great relationship with the ownership. I remember he came back and was behind the scenes with Vrabel.
Yeah, and then listen, Miss Amy was caught catching up with them before the game on the sidelines. I don't read too much into it, but other people do. But
so I just that's just kind of interesting. But that's how it works.
Yeah,
it's all about relationships and familiarity, and I'd love to see him get a second shot, but I think that time is really past.
And I love Jim Schwartz as well as a defensive coordinator. I think he's a great, and there are some guys that are just defensive coordinators. And I think at some point when you have a job as a head coach and then you go down and you're back at coordinating and at the coordinating level, you have to kind of overcome a lot and become almost undeniable. Like, you cannot deny me anymore. I deserve a second shot at head coach. Because, again, he was at Detroit, and it was kind of different. But that Detroit back then is different than the Detroit we have now, situationally from the top bottom.
I'm going to ask you one more question, though.
Yeah.
Okay, after his first year there in Detroit, let's say that's somewhat similar to the situation. Different, but the same as far as record.
Right,
okay,
pretty much.
How much did he grow them after 1 year, then to 2 years? I know you said he had a 10-win season.
Yeah, so he was. So he took over a team that went 0-16.
Right.
And they went 2-14 the next year. And then his first year, they went 2-14. His second year, they went 6-10. Then they went 10-6 in his third year. Then went down to 4-12 from 10-6, and then 7-9 in his last year. And I don't think he's done, while he's been a successful defensive coordinator since leaving, I don't think he's done stuff like Vance Joseph or, to your point, Mike McCarthy or Matt Nagy. Well, Matt Nagy's probably he's done better as a head coach, but right. I don't know if I would call him undeniable. But the stuff that you do when you leave your job, how much have you changed the game and done this and that? And I just don't know if Jim Schwartz, to your point, I kind of agree. I don't know if I like the idea of a bridge quarterback or a bridge head coach and maybe being able to pass the baton to someone that you're training and they're in having that. I just don't know if Jim Schwartz is that guy right at this point in time.
And I'm saying as being a big advocate for Schwartz, guess what I'm a bigger advocate of? I want the Titans to freaking win.
Me too.
And so it much as it burns me to say, I just don't know. Man, I would love to bring him in as a, associate coach of DC and maybe oversee if you kept, Wilson on the staff there, Denard. I mean, give him some other eyeballs, for a guy who's growing at the position. It seems like he's done better with less than when he had more. So obviously he's maybe learned some things along this way and just needs a little tutelage, maybe something like that. So, man, that's a tough one because I want to say they already at the 2-win level. So then they went to 6 wins when he was in Detroit then. I want to take a bigger jump. I want to be a playoff contender team next year with the right draft and free agent. I think it could actually happen. It's possible. We got to see what those moves are. I think it was a team this year who did that. Who was that's done that? That's
well, I mean, if you really, I don't know if it's not technically within.
Well, I know last year the Commanders did it, but this year, who is it? It's
the Panthers are kind of that, but I mean, they've had Dave Canales. This is Dave Canales' second year.
Right. So that's where I'm looking right there.
Yeah.
That's a good one because they're 7-6, and nobody would have thought that. And this is the second year there, and they took leaps. I think we should be ready to take a leap. And that leap, even if they get to 9, you still
The Bears would be a great example. That's the one you're probably thinking of.
That's the one. Yeah. So with that type of quarterback, which we have, so yeah, I just don't know if he doesn't have the resume to say that's going to happen. I mean, and if you want to take a risk on a young guy, then that's why I said this move of hiring a coach is going to be the biggest ever in Titans history because you can go any direction. And what did I say about hiring a coach? It is luck involved in that now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's just like drafting in the first round.
It's like hiring somebody. Their resume could look pristine, and then they come in and you go, oh, man, this is not the right fit. You know, it just happens. So I don't know, man. There's a part of me I want to roll the dice and go with a young up and coming, and then you blow that out, then everybody up top is gonna get fired.
Yeah.
So you go conservative for that bridge guy,
right?
And then if it works out, he's better than that. Great. So I would probably play a little more conservative. Schwartzy, maybe in their eyes, is conservative, and they know him.
That could be. All right, coming up next, we'll talk, switch gears to Robert Saleh. We'll talk about the San Francisco 49ers and Tennessee Titans. We'll also go out to Gill in California as well. 615-737-1045. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 1045 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here at 104.5 The Zone, powered by all Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. Let's go out to Gil in California. Gil, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Help us, Gil.
Hey, Blaine and Zach, what's going on?
What's up?
What's happening?
Oh, nothing much. I wanted to say that when I found out that the Titans was Mike McCarthy was one of the head candidates, I had called two of my boys who are high school coaches and heavy Dallas Cowboy fans, and I asked them about what do they think about him going to the Titans, and they enlightened me that he's a good coach, but they said that he was a little too lenient on the star players, and they wouldn't know if he would mesh well. His old school coaching style would mesh well with the new generation of young players. But then they also told me that if the Titans can find a no-nonsense young offensive coordinator to match with him, it could end up being an excellent signing. So I just wanted to see what you guys think about that.
I mean, that's kind of what we were kind of talking about there. Mike McCarthy is a potential bridge head coach, which someone that you can groom for the future. I don't know if that's necessarily what Gil is saying, but sounds similar to what we were just talking about.
And, he's a play caller as well, so you don't have to ever worry about losing your play caller. But that's always an interesting discussion there. He was lenient there on the stars. I would say outside of Jeffrey Simmons and the quarterback, I mean, who are the stars? So he doesn't have to worry about that too much. Now, that could change. So it's just a tough call. I don't know much about McCarthy besides his record when lost Green Bay. I'd be more concerned, is he outdated with his style of play more than anything else? And does that connect with the new up-and-coming young players? Now, some players would say, I remember McCarthy with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
See? So they're going to know him because they're always on TV. So they're going to think they're going to have built-in respect based off of that, right? See, so that's, those are the things that nobody talk about, and that's kind of more so, which is kind of big with me, is just like the chemistry and how everything kind of fits and connects together. I think that's the only way you got a shot of making sure that you got the right guy. So I'm not sitting there asking him questions or anything like that, but I can say he's a proven guy that can get you back to middling based off of his history of him as a
And listen,
coach.
even if his scheme is outdated, his scheme was still working just a couple of years ago.
Right. Well, it's funny when people say schemes are outdated.
It doesn't really, that doesn't compute for me, but that's what they say.
No, that's what people are saying, and I'm not saying you saying this. I'm just saying when we talk about schemes are outdated, what happens is the scheme is still somewhat similar, but it continues to evolve as time goes on. Guess what? They're playing the San Francisco 49ers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, it's still the West Coast offense.
Yep.
Right, yeah. But see, people think it's so different. No, it's the West Coast offense. They just emphasize and do some things and wrinkles a little bit differently than what they did back in with Bill Walsh.
Right.
But it's still the same thing as with McCarthy.
Yeah.
He came from that tree.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, so guess what? He was just in the league a year ago, this past season before this. So you could say 2 years, but it's only hadn't even been a full season yet.
Right.
So we could kind of evolve and change and adapt, because if you don't as a coach, you will get left behind. So most of these coaches, they're sitting there, with the clicker all the time, the click, 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 and that's what they do, and they love it. And so I think McCarthy's one of those guys. That won't mean that is he a good fit with this organization? Is he a good fit with Cam Ward? You can change the narrative to fit whatever way you go, even if you go young, but long as it's the right one, it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. Even with the Swartzy. Swartzy's probably number one smartest coaches I've been with as far as coordinators. He is number one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was fascinating when he came to the table when he was just our linebackers coach. It was like unbelievable. Like, oh man, this guy brings a whole bunch to the table. See? So he could be the fit just because the ownership understands him. They have a good relationship. Good relationships tend to go in the right direction. That's why Vrabel would only hire guys he had relationships with. First, they're not going to leak out information. Number one is everything's going to stay in-house, and you're comfortable with them, and you can have good conversations, when things go rough.
Yeah.
Because things are going to go rough in the National Football League. I know you may go through a 2-game, 3-game losing streak. You go, hey, man, we got to rally these guys. So there's a lot of things like there where chemistry and cohesiveness within an organization and within the team and the coaching staff that just nobody talks about, I think is probably number one uno for me, because that then hence will lead to success eventually.
Yep. There you go. I love it. Let's go to Bear in Springfield. Bear, you're on Blaine and Zach.
Hey, Professor. Hey, man, what's going on?
What's up?
I just wanted to, well, first of all, with McCarthy, I was kind of like, about him. But I see the points Blaine make about him being a winner and everything. I just wanted, Pollard played for him. I just wonder what Pollard would think about him coming in. Maybe somebody could ask him.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe the media needs to ask him.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty smart. We were just talking about that a couple weeks ago. Why don't they ask players about these former coaches? And I'm just thinking, well, they got one right on the staff.
Hey, man, appreciate that, man.
Yeah. And before I go, I just wanted to, I ain't hear nobody talk about it. I know it's been a week, but when Gray was running back the 2-pointer, he just stopped and fell down. Man, if we would have lost that game, because that would have put us, if we would have lost that game, I'd have made that man walk back to Tennessee. And that's all I got,
guys.
Hey, that's old school, man. You outdated, man. They wouldn't have let that go, man. They better take you to HR, man.
You can also throw in Xavier Woods, who also played for Mike McCarthy. You also have, by the way, Bones Fossil, who has coached and worked with Mike McCarthy.
So
you probably got a little bit of a leg up on what Mike McCarthy is and what he can and can't do.
Right. And all the coaches have limitations. They have their flaws. Andy Reid was game management. And he shows signs of it every now and then. It's still, you're like, dang, man, they just have a hole in their way they go about it. It doesn't show up all the time, but it does show up every now and then.
And I think what the ultimate, I guess, overview of this is the right fit. Yeah, he can be a great coach, right? Because his track record speaks for itself. Mm-hmm. But is he the right fit? He can be a coach with no track record whatsoever, but is he the right fit?
Yeah.
And I think you're really onto something with that. Needs to be like the mantra. And if there's any question that you ask about fit and it comes back, I don't know, you have your answer.
Yeah. I go back to even when they went through this process with Vrabel, and then they asked Vrabel to hire LaFleur. Yeah. Will it be a situation like that?
It's not out of the question.
Which they were on point on both.
Yeah.
Hiring young,
when we talk about
up-and-coming, unproven coaches.
Because we talk about how Amy is not good at the hiring process or whatever people want to say, but she got that one right twice in 1 year.
Yeah, and they both have done, we know what they are as head coaches, so here or other places. So it's just, it's a, man, Shula could be great. I mean, I watch Kubiak.
Yeah.
I like what I see on tape. Doesn't mean they're going to be good fits or doesn't mean that they're going to be good head coaches.
Right.
But everybody deserves their shot. When are you going to be, in the right spot to say, I'm going to give it to that shot? Or is it more DC oriented?
Yeah.
And you want to go down that road and say, those guys bring a fire. We need to light a torch up in here and we make sure you have the right, OC. And then you say, when we lose our OC, then we're going to hire another OC.
Yeah.
Oh, my, if he does such a good job with Cam Ward, it's going to be another hire. Well, you have one built in.
Right. I mean, you went from Matt LaFleur to Arthur Smith. The problem was after Arthur Smith left, you didn't have anybody, and you went out, you got Todd Downing, and then you went to Tim Kelly, and that started pretty much the demise.
Nice. Yeah.
Let's go to Steve in Nashville. Steve, you're on with Blaine and Zach.
Blaine, you're a genius. My wife and I were sitting there watching this the other night.
I wish.
Just think about it. No, seriously. Look, Nagy had the same thing with Williams. Suddenly you go to Ben Johnson. Hey, it's the right fit. You go to Darnold. You go to all these guys. You go to Daniel Jones, for that matter. All these guys have kind of been retreaded. I think you're spot on. I love the Jason Garrett hire. I love that. No one's mentioning it, but I love that hire because he seems to have the ability now to talk to these younger players. I do disagree with you on going DC, and the reason being what you just said. Your OC's gone in 2 years because if you're moving the ball and if you're sustaining offense, a good OC is going to be gone, right? He's the guy we hire now. This is make or break time, and I'm ready to make it. But I think you're spot on. And just comparing all those quarterbacks, it's the fit. It's almost like you want to bring him in the building and let him work for him for a couple of days. You go, Cam, you like him? No? Okay, there's your answer.
Right.
I wish you could do that. That'd be great.
Oh, that would be
I
awesome.
know,
man.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
good
Steve. I will say if it's Jason Garrett, I'll vomit all over this station.
I don't know about
Outside
that
of me,
today.
like I always forget about Jason Garrett because I hate the Sunday night. Him on the Sunday night countdown to kickoff for Sunday night football is just atrocious, and I think he's just terrible at his job.
Well, a lot of those coaches are, so straight laced. I mean, usually broadcasting, unless they got this huge personality to them, are they really good on TV?
And I'm like, outside of maybe
knows
Tommy
ball, though.
Reese, Jason Garrett may induce physical reactions.
I saw he's the front runner for the Michigan job. Is that true?
Tommy Reese?
I saw that somewhere, and I said, this cannot be true.
Well, they don't want to be a top 5 program for long.
He was horrible as Alabama play caller.
He's bad.
I know, man.
All right. Coming up next, let's get into Robert Saleh, the San Francisco 49ers. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Doors. 615-737-1045 is the number. You know, we were going to talk about this yesterday, and we just never got around to it. That happens a lot on this show. We have really great conversations, and we just can't fit everything into a show.
Which is always fun.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Ross has to keep us in line.
Ross hates
more
it.
so you, but
Yeah, Ross hates it because he has to put the same topic in the tweet over and over every show that we never get to.
I did a Robert Saleh gif yesterday.
Yeah.
Didn't mention his name once.
Yeah. We were going to talk about Robert Saleh yesterday. He puts out a GIF on the tweet, makes it the show. I think, did you even make it the title of the show?
Something like that.
And we never even got to it.
Right. I get us off, the tracks, and then we can't get back on.
Yeah. So, the interesting thing about Robert Saleh is that I would say, at least according to Titans Twitter, he's like if you were to poll Titans Twitter, which is a vocal minority of Titans fans, we got to remember that there's hundreds of thousands of Titans fans, and not all of them are on Twitter.
Yeah.
But I would say that Robert Saleh is probably their number one choice if you polled them.
Really?
And I think my question is really, what do we blame Robert Saleh for? What do we blame the Jets for? Did Robert Saleh handle the New York media right, and the pressure of ownership, and did he handle everything up there right? Do we really want Mike LaFleur as his offensive coordinator? Maybe it's Bobby Slowick, and maybe you don't want Bobby Slowick, but this idea that you're going to be able to duplicate the Rams or San Francisco 49ers offense with one of those two guys, because we saw Mike LaFleur with play calling in New York. We saw Robert Saleh and Mike LaFleur try to develop a quarterback. Now, you may think that nobody can develop Zach Wilson, but at the same time, they didn't. Proof's in the pudding, right? We saw it. So what are we to take away really from Robert Saleh? Because I guess let's go through it. Because
I don't know much outside. I know him as a DC, but when he's the head coach, it's hard to. You're not following the team. What's really true and not coming out of there. You know, even with
because these things I'm going to read. I know I know anonymous sources are kind of a bugaboo, but I will say
definitely not big on that.
But this is 30 sources and 20 sources from inside the building. So that's and they did it to protect from Woody Johnson firing people, because these people may still be employed with the Jets. So that's why they granted this anonymity in this situation. But there's one article has 30 sources, the other article has 20 sources in and around the Jets facility.
That is absolutely unbelievable.
This is unbelievable.
And so, just think about that environment now, and Saleh's in that.
Yeah.
You're wondering where you get information. So,
right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, say happy belated birthday to Wiz over there. See Wiz, man. Yeah, no doubt.
So, New York, obviously, let's start with kind of the situation in and around New York itself with Woody Johnson. Just real quick, we know the Madden ratings. We know all that kind of stuff.
Well, some people don't listen every day.
So just in case you don't, the basically Madden ratings became Woody Johnson's go-to, as well as what he reads on Twitter became him and his son's go-to for how they did player selection. And there would be times where the Jets, he didn't really meddle in the draft, by the way, how this goes about, which is very surprising. What he would do is they would make a pick, then he would go to his friends just outside the draft room and make fun of them for the pick. So that's what Woody Johnson did. A Jets spokesperson said the owner was being provocative when he suggested benching Aaron Rodgers, because he suggested that. And he made the statement in jest just to see how it would be handled.
Wait a minute. Time out. Wait, time out. Did he force them to sign Aaron Rodgers and then wanted to bench him?
Yes.
So I'm just giving everybody the full gamut of what Saleh was dealing with.
So he forced.
See that?
So here's how it goes. So because Aaron Rodgers is a Jet in the 2023 and 2024 season. 2023 season is the one that he carries the flag out, plays one play, and he's injured and out for the rest of the year.
For that first year, yeah.
He forced Robert Saleh to fire Mike LaFleur, to hire Nathaniel Hackett, to get Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Now, let's be honest here. There is a point where Robert Saleh goes out at the podium and talks about Super Bowl after the signing of Aaron Rodgers. I mean, put himself out there.
He's got to back his owner now.
So first they were trying to get Derek Carr before Derek Carr went to the Saints because Rodgers was doing the darkness retreat thing in 23, and they were, trying to get a quarterback. Obviously, they brought Derek Carr in, but they're really waiting on Rodgers, obviously. So that was, like Zach was saying, the whole get Hackett and take everybody. Remember when the big entourage went to his house in California?
Yeah.
So this is what
this is the owner of
this is what
Johnson, by the
LaFleur,
way. Anybody who doesn't know,
yeah, Woody Johnson. So this is LaFleur on the Robert Saleh
that stock.
Jets trade for Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so this is what Matt LaFleur said about what he saw Robert Saleh do and say. This is in the book, The Why Is Everything by Mike Silver.
Man, that's a big old encyclopedia.
It is. In my opinion, 32 coaches stand in front of their teams every year, talk about winning a championship, and then realistically, there's maybe 6 or 8 teams that have an actual chance to do it. And I do think we are one of those teams. That's what Robert Saleh said with Aaron Rodgers up at the podium. LaFleur was stunned. Quote, I can't believe he said that. He told me. It's one thing to say that to your team. It's another thing to say it publicly. I'm like, dude, why would you put yourself in the crosshairs? It always comes with the job, but you don't need to say it. He's obviously one of my closest friends. He's smarter than hell. That, to me, was not one of the smartest things.
Well, he got excited up at the podium.
Got a little excited. So he was all kind of, he wanted to put on a good show.
And not with New York. They're going to hold you to it.
They're going to hold you to it. Okay, so he then, in the 2024 season, Johnson suggested benching Rodgers. Jets, and like I said, he just wanted to see how that statement out in the public would be handled. So he's testing, doing lab tests on his coaching staff and players, which is wild to do.
Yeah, man.
And if someone describes the root of the franchise problems is Johnson, they keep on doing, quote, they keep on doing the same thing over and over. They change the football people. The football people are not the issue. It's, hey, I have brain cancer, and, just cut off your foot. That's how they liken it. I mean, there's even a time where Woody Johnson, Blaine, when they traded Zach Wilson to the Broncos, the Broncos wanted the last pick in the draft. Woody Johnson's, because the Jets owned the last 2 picks in the NFL draft, and they wanted the last pick. Woody Johnson said, no, trade him the pick before that one because we want to have Mr. Irrelevant. We want that Mr. Irrelevant. Gave him a better draft pick so he could have Mr. Irrelevant, the branding and everything.
Yeah, he wanted it.
Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant did not make the team that year.
So if you remember with the timing of the firing of Saleh as well, it was reported at least, Woody Johnson wanted Aaron Rodgers benched after week 4 last year when they played, or 2 years ago, I guess, in Denver. They played against Denver in a rain game. The week before was that Patriots game where he threw for 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. But they played in that rain game in Denver. They lose to the Broncos and Bo Nix, who was a rookie, and he wanted him benched after that. They did not bench him, obviously. Then they went to London to play the Vikings, and Rodgers had by far his worst game of the season, threw 3 picks that game, and they lost. And then he fired Saleh that Tuesday or something like that. So I think it was very much around the not doing what the owner wanted.
Yeah,
probably.
So Johnson forced Robert Saleh to fire Mike LaFleur, but not only that, in the summer of 2024, he forced Saleh to fire 5 coaches. So that the owner is getting, not the GM, mind you, that is forcing all this. The owner from on high is forcing him to make coaching staff changes constantly. So that's a lot, right? That is a lot to handle for any coach.
I don't know, man. He was in a losing proposition there, man.
Yeah. And I promise you, Woody Johnson does not know what the assistant coaches are doing, if they're up to par or not.
But again, though, Robert Saleh didn't really handle stuff on his end either. He's counting in this quote. He's counting how many times the Giants are disparaged by the media and how many times the Jets are disparaged by the media. And he was bothered that the Jets got more negative coverage than the Giants got more negative coverage.
He got real paranoid once he lost trust. Now, you got to tell him the one thing that you told me.
Which one?
About the phone.
Oh, I'm getting there.
Man. And keep in mind, this was a coach and a team in Robert Saleh that accepted the Hard Knocks invitation in 2023. So they invited a big media circus.
Was that Saleh, or was that the owner who wanted attention?
It was 100% Woody, but I'm saying, Saleh went along with it too.
And then Saleh was like, nope, we cutting him.
The other thing is Saleh has the mantra positive vibes only printed on T-shirts that coaches and other staffers often had to wear around the team facility. Okay, that's a little odd. That seems very Brian Callahan-ish. Like if I have to be honest,
he never did that.
He never did that, but that seems like there would be an idea right there.
He didn't do that.
But behind closed doors, vibes weren't always positive because, like we said, Saleh would see the negative press reports and he'd complain about how it's unfair they got more negative coverage. Of course, Rodgers got injured. He bemoaned his bad luck, and he also said that any team that could win 8 games with Zach Wilson as quarterback would be a miracle. Like, he pretty much changed the battle cry for the 2023 season after Aaron Rodgers went down. What do you expect? We lost Aaron Rodgers. And then he got angry and paranoid, to your point, I mean, a lot of paranoia, because Rodgers nor Johnson would come out and endorse him for the 2024 season when he expected them to. So there's a lot of paranoia there. And then if you guys remember that if you go to the this will be our final little wrap up on the crap show that is the Jets, that if you remember that at one point Rodgers goes down, Zach Wilson, they didn't know if they were going to play Zach Wilson or not. They wouldn't commit to it. And then when they finally committed to it, he didn't want to really play anymore for them and all this stuff. And that got leaked to the media. And it became a little bit of big to-do. So Rodgers then went on Pat McAfee, was asked about the leak, and he says that's a problem with the organization. We need to get to the bottom of whatever this is coming from and put a stop to it privately because there's no place for that in a winning culture. And this isn't the only time. There's been a bunch of other leaks. This sent Robert Saleh into a tailspin. The coach held a meeting with his staff 2 days later where he asked the leaker to reveal himself. According to multiple people in attendance, if you come forward now, you won't get in trouble, he told them, while threatening to the coaching staff, maybe all of the staff. I mean, so like any staff like scouts or anything like that. It just says staff. But he told them while threatening to take away their cell phones. Staffers were bemused by Saleh's obsession with the Wilson story and his reaction to it. That's a lot of drama.
Is that even legal? He could actually.
I don't even know.
If it's a Jet issued phone.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know. Like, to me, this is, and there's a lot of good because there's an Athletic article about his time in San Francisco. There's stuff in here where they say, like, quote, his big thing is, I don't want to hear what a player can't do. I want to hear what a player can do well and how we can utilize that and make it better.
Oh, no, I definitely like that. I agree
and like, he used to be a staunch cover 3 guy. And Seattle 3 defense, because that's what he was raised in. And now he's a guy that changes his defensive game plan week to week like a Kyle Shanahan does, adapts his defense to the team that he's facing. And there's a lot of good stuff that he's doing in San Francisco. So how much of it is the New York Jets? How much of it is Robert Saleh? And which organization are the Titans closer to? Are they closer to the New York Jets? Or are they closer to the San Francisco 49ers?
I mean, hearing that about the Jets, I don't think we're nowhere near that, man. Good Lord. That is, woo. I don't know if I would have been able to handle that either. I might have lost my mind.
But, I mean, it could be a...
I can't even imagine Zach Wilson saying, I don't want to play for you anymore. I can't imagine a player saying, I'm not going to play for you anymore. Like, you're not going to draft, or what are we talking about?
This could be a situation where he's just Jim Schwartz, right? Like what we talked about, where... Now, he may get a chance sooner rather than later, but he's a great defensive coordinator, and maybe he doesn't need another head coaching job. I think he's going to get one, but does that sound like the right fit? And, again, it's all about developing the quarterback. Is he going to bring the staff?
It's hard to judge this one incident, his only shot with all this, I'm going to call it, circus around him. That there, man. I don't know how most coaches, even veteran coaches who have a long history of success, would have handled, some stuff like that. Maybe differently because he was probably just couldn't believe some of the stuff was going on and didn't expect it.
But you get over to San Francisco, it's like he does all this stuff. This is what Diamador Lenore said about him after one of their victories. It's more than game plan. He doesn't just game plan. He dissects. Like in biology class, you've got the frog, you got to open him up and see where's his heart at. With Saleh, were going straight for the heart. Like he's changed everything that he was at San Francisco in one off from the Jets to San Francisco, and even old San Francisco Robert Saleh. He's changed everything in one off season, so that shows you he has the ability to change and adapt. Where his hands tied up at New York, and did New York media, because we don't have any stories from 2021 and 2022. We have stories from 2023 and 2024, and when's the last New York? Rex Ryan was the last New York Jet head coach to have any kind of consistent success. So, is it just the New York Jets?
Yes, I believe so.
I would lean all into that. Yeah, it's probably more them than the people they actually.
And if there's vindication for Saleh, one, it's that the defense fell off a cliff after he got fired.
That is true.
And two,
yeah, they did.
Even after coming off of an Achilles tear, Aaron Rodgers ended up having a pretty decent season overall. Yeah. So
and
I think there's some vindication.
This. We talk about Zach Wilson. Mike McDaniel did have a winning record with Zach Wilson in that 2022 season.
They had a winning season?
No, just a winning record with Zach Wilson. When Zach Wilson's quarterback, they were 5-4. Okay. That's not great, but that's the best you've gotten out as anybody else has gotten out of Zach Wilson as a starter. So there is some positivity there, and you would think this is a guy that's probably refreshed and everything, but he's also one of the highest paid defensive coordinators right now. He turned down an offer of over $10 million with the Las Vegas Raiders to be their defensive coordinator. And he wanted to go to San Francisco.
But there was stipulations to that.
Yeah. I'm just saying the money.
You're not giving the whole picture, though.
Yeah.
They said you were going to be waiting head coach, and he was like, no, either you hire me as head coach or I'm not going to be there.
Yeah. And he almost got the Jaguars job last year, had it not been for that whole mess with Liam Cohen.
So is that why you wanted to punch
that and a couple of other things.
I don't know, man.
Because when you hire a guy like this, his offensive coordinator position becomes the second highest, if not maybe the most important decision left, right? And I'm not sure I've seen enough from Mike LaFleur, who's currently the offensive coordinator for the Rams, but he's not the play caller. And when he was the play caller, it wasn't good. Now, you could say maybe it was talent, maybe it was the offensive line, all these excuses, but at the end of the day, they weren't moving the ball. And at the end of the day, they didn't develop Zach Wilson. Now, take that for what it's worth, because they're like we just read. You could look at it this way. Duck Falling put in the chat like this. He said, the Jets are a 3-ring circus. The Titans are just a 1-ring circus. But at the same time, I don't think the Jets are anywhere as near the Titans don't have meddling ownership as much as the Jets do. The Jets are in everything up there.
Yeah, look, that's just crazy. And then they use the video game stuff.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
So
I thought that was a lie when that came out. I really did. I was like, somebody's messing around. No way.
It's just a big risk, right? Like that's that. And listen, this is the most important hire. We'll harp on this the entire time until they even hire a coach. Is that this is the most important hire that they can make, and there's just a lot of smoke, whether that's his smoke or not. There's just a lot there that we have to unpack and be honest that everybody's kind of making him out to be a perfect head coaching candidate, and he may not be as perfect as what everybody assumes. I still think he's probably, if I were to create a list of top 5 or top 6 candidates that I think the Tennessee Titans are considering, I think he'd be on that top 5 or top 6. But I just don't know, again, is he the right fit? And that's where I have a little bit of reservations.
I have no idea, but one thing you can say, typically, after you had a new up-and-coming young coach, potential, play caller and head coach, you go the opposite the next go-round.
Yeah.
See, so
typically you do.
Typically. So I can't say the Titans are in that history, but the NFL is.
Yep.
When they're hiring coaches.
Coming up next, we'll talk more about the San Francisco 49ers versus Tennessee Titans as we'll wrap up our game preview. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone.
Well, naturally, we're in the holiday season and holiday parties, and I know you're going to be gaining that holiday weight. But yet, we will quiet the food noise with Edge Peptide. And their approach to weight loss at Edge Peptide Hormone Therapy is a little bit different. They make sure all of your patients have extensive lab work and face-to-face conversation in office with our nurse practitioner to create a customized treatment plan tailored to your specific needs. Edge walks you through the process and guiding your treatment and answering questions, supporting you along the way. You also get to enjoy access to their in-body scanner to track weight loss and make sure you're maintaining muscle mass, as well as they get to lower your A1C, keeping your cravings in check, prioritizing protein, and having someone guide your journey from start to finish. So call the team at Edge Peptide for all of your wellness questions at 724-1878. That's 615, of course, 724-1878 or edgepeptide.com.
Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone, powered by All Four Seasons Garage Door. Blaine, who would you say is someone that you played that would be the closest player to Christian McCaffrey? Would that be Marshall Faulk? Edgerrin James. Did you cross with Edgerrin?
Yeah, of course I did. Yeah, I dominated that game.
Yeah.
Edgerrin didn't get smacked.
Yeah.
I dumped him. Dumped him. Go pull that up.
So
on my
listen, we
IG.
just need to get you to go out to San Francisco then, and get you back out
I
there.
knew all their plays.
No, we got young Blaine Bishop out there
Sure,
right
we
now.
got Kevin Winston running around. I tell you what, he
Oh,
launches himself
dude,
out
I
there.
wish there was a young man Bishop. Oh man, good Lord, he definitely is play style much bigger and faster than me. But I don't know, man. I'm on a series. They said, Zach, you're just ruining all the candidates. Nobody's gonna be good.
I just want to lay out the facts out there.
no
Make
doubt.
sure, because I mean, I do feel like everybody, finds their guy. To me, it's been, because you asked me yesterday when we were leaving, like, is Robert Saleh your guy? And I'm like, I just don't know. Like, it's because of doing this for over a year with you, I've learned so much more about football. It's like, it is about fit, and I'll never know.
I don't either.
Yeah,
to be
right? Like,
honest.
we won't ever know because we're not in the room.
Rooms, yeah.
And so it's kind of hard for me. It's like, I can see why they would like Jesse Minter from afar. Oh, I could see why they would like Anthony Weaver. I could see why they would like, Clint Kubiak, this guy, that guy, this guy. Nagy. Like, I could see why they would like all these guys. And all these guys
Shula.
bring something different. But I don't really know if anybody's really going to turn out because you never know.
Or somebody they know, Swartzy, Arthur Smith. I mean, you talking about second chances. I mean,
Yeah.
and who knows the organization?
Right.
I mean,
because everybody wants to act like that the Brink or the hiring of Berganzi didn't come with any kind of relationship ties. And I'm like, well, no, they knew each other for like 19 years. I mean, Brinker and Berganzi, they've said it. So, like, yes, there is a relationship. They didn't work together, but there's a relationship. So, like, that's why the L'Jarius Sneed trade ended up getting done was because Brinker had a relationship with Berganzi. Like, relationships matter in the NFL. So the people that are like, well, not every hire has a relationship tied to it. There's always some kind of relationship that you end up finding out. Maybe the Rand Carthon and the Brian Callahan hire, maybe there's no real relationship there. But at the same time, that didn't work out. And you kind of see that the Berganzi hire kind of is working out, at least from their view. So why wouldn't you lean back into what's comfortable? But there's a lot of people floating out there. They are keeping their mind open about youth movement as they should.
Oh, yeah, definitely that. I would not close the door. I think initially I was thinking that way, but, as time went on, before we got to this point, I'm like, yeah, you got to open it up to everybody. I mean, that is, so I said that in the beginning, and because you just never know what you may find.
Right.
You may also learn something through that process of what you may be looking for, even though it's not in that candidate. There's a lot of thought that goes into once you're asking questions and you're having these conversations, other things come up
Seeing
in
their
your mind.
plans.
It's like, oh, dang, we didn't think of that. Not saying that to them.
Right.
So it's always interesting. Then that's how you lead yourself to, hey, would you, after all the interviews are over, would you come back as the OC or a DC? And we're going to hire this guy as the head coach. Do you think that'll be something you'd be interested in? That's how they came to their decision in. And hopefully they kind of do that same process. And that's a difficult process. But I pray for them that they get it right.
So, yeah, I'm with you. Okay, so the Tennessee Titans offense had probably their most complete game, I would say, from a game plan execution against the Cleveland Browns. Because, I mean, we can box score scout Cam Ward. He still contributed 2 touchdowns.
Yeah. As his first 2-touchdown game, right?
Yeah, first 2-touchdown game. We had 2 touchdowns on the ground. So, I mean, a pretty complete effort. You're going up against San Francisco 49ers, as we just talked about Robert Saleh, one of the best guys to adapt his game plan to the opponents he's facing. But they are ranked in the mid to low 20s in all passing touchdown statistics.
Really?
But they're in the high 9 to 12 in all rushing statistics. The thing is that they allow a lot of yards. They allow the 20th most yards on defense, but they allow the 8th least amount of points. So their very definition of it sounds like bend, don't break defense.
Yeah, that's what that sounds like.
So can the Tennessee Titans maybe find a rhythm? And if they find a rhythm, at least keep it competitive, because I'm really only good. I really only think I'm going to settle on 12.5 because they're going to cover the 12.5. But I mean, I don't know the path for victory, but it's a weird December. Just how
You just don't know how much having a win carries over to a sin. It's just confidence when you're talking about a young team and an up-and-coming young quarterback, what that brings to the table for them. And they haven't won back-to-back in how long?
2022.
I know that has nothing to do with some of the players.
Broncos and Packers, I believe.
So there's something to that, even though there's coaching changes along the way. You want to get over that snide, so that should drive them. I mean, man.
You would think so, but the messaging was, hey, wins are hard and all that kind of stuff. Like, to me, Cam Ward's messaging matters more to what we're talking about than anything else. Just are people latching on to it? And that's my question.
And, hey, after our first win, we had a very winnable game the next week in Vegas.
Yeah.
And
this isn't a winnable game, but I'm hoping, and here's the other thing, Cush is probably coming back to the starting lineup, and I know that he's getting paid more, but man, Levin sure has looked a whole lot better in my mind these last, week and a half.
Yeah. Well, no, though. When you're a vet like that, you only got so many really good games.
Yeah,
and
that's
like,
true.
Hey, I need a break, man.
It's kind of like Dennis Kelly, right? Like Dennis Kelly was like, can he do it for a full 16-game season?
Right, that's the whole thing. So, hey, man, you got, it's tough, but I'd keep what's working going.
Yeah,
and
I
then,
would. Hate to mess with a good
ready
thing.
To back up and maybe spot play here or there.
Yeah. Okay, I think they're going to cover the 12.5. Do you think they're going to cover the 12.5, Blaine?
Yep.
Okay, Ross?
I'll say yes, but
All
we
right.
still lose, yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably still
We
lose.
all say yes.
Yeah.
You know that means that's not
I don't know.
happening.
We did say they were all going to win last week, right?
We said we were all going to win against the Jags after
Well,
we
that's
talked
true.
about
So
how
we're-
good the Jags
That's
were.
true. All right. That will do it for us.
No.
3HL's up next. This is Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 105 The Zone. You got something you want to say?
Yeah, how'd you know?
What?
You read
Yeah.
my facial expression?
We can always tell.
Who you got Army Navy?
Oh, we got, Lions did best bets. We need to wait till they get completed, but hopefully, please, Lord, maybe win me one. All right, there we go. This is Big Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons here on 104.5 The Zone. And in the meantime,
An in-between time.
Peace.
Below 50%.